fun topic I enjoy teaching about. Most topics I enjoy teaching about, but this one in particular will be fun.
All right. Well, let's get started, everybody. Thanks, Karen. So we're live now. We'll get rolling on the topic today. By way of introduction, my name is Theresa Larson. Here at Movement RX, our expert today is Dr. Theresa Larson. She's oftentimes our expert when it comes to anything musculoskeletal in nature. And so, as we get going, I wanted to just for perspective. So the topic today is that the area of the body that is the #1 predictor for musculoskeletal issues and what to do about it. And so it's the latest in our 2-year health series, which is something, it's a helpful perk of our Movement RX membership for both individuals as well as companies. We also make these open to folks who are interested in what we do, to ask questions and get a better feel for who we are and how we approach health. So before we get into the meat of it, just some housekeeping stuff for today. If you have questions, feel free to use the Q&A tool. We will get to those at the end, unless I, in my producer role here, think that there's something that's a hot button issue that we can address immediately, but typically we'll wait until the Q&A session at the end. If you're a member, this will be recorded and added to the member area. So if you're watching this later, you've already figured that out. Just real quick, upcoming events. We've got a fitness class at noon today, virtual. There's a DRM, which is down regulation and mobility, tomorrow at 1 p.m. with Dr. Amanda. And then also on Monday, we'll have another DRM. And then Tuesday is our next Ask the Doc session. So for if you're here and you've been around us, you know who Dr. T is. Those who don't, very quickly, some background. She's the founder of Movement RX, former D1 athlete, Marine Corps lieutenant. She's a doctor of physical therapy, strength coach. The topic today is something, of course, that she is uniquely experienced in and is an expert in. So musculoskeletal expert. She's also published a memoir called Warrior, which is about kind of a come to wellness from an emotional health perspective. And so today we get a chance to peek into some of her expertise as it relates to musculoskeletal health and one joint in particular. So Dr. T, what's that joint?
Okay, let's do it. So, well, the joint is the neck. So, but we'll get into that in a little bit. First, we have some fun little things that I like to start off these web classes with, because one, most of us are at home or in random areas working. And I like to have a little bit of fun in the beginning and actually make this whole thing fun. So purposes of time, this is going to be 25, 30 minutes and then Q&A. So if you have to jump off at 11:30, we understand. But if you need to stick around to listen to the questions, feel free, and you'll be able to watch this via YouTube. We'll be reposting this at some point too. So in the intro, so I'd like to first talk a little bit about what's going on in our world. So we have a new intern, Annie Wozniak, who's from Buffalo, New York, and she's helping us out with our veteran group, our veteran classes and courses. In the Nordic families household, that's the Larsons, Sarah and I, and our 2 little boys. What's new with us is we have, well, Axel Charles is now almost 3 months old. And he is very much a social eater. So yes, he is breastfeeding, but it seems like, he likes to smile and eat. So it takes a little while. And I just think, it's very endearing for those of you that are parents to experience that. But imagine if we were to take a bite and smile at the person across from us every time we took a bite. Like, it might make might be a little awkward, but it actually is very endearing and a nice thing. It's kind of a mindful approach to eating and a way to enjoy food a little bit more. Yes,
sir? I'll try that at dinner tonight.
Yes, please take a bite and look at me and smile each time. So we can always learn from our little ones, I think. And that was one that stood out to me the last couple of days, is just Axel loves to eat and smile and eat and smile. And it's just awesome. Okay, the next topic is why I like to dress up for these web classes. I'm at home and I could be in my sweats, and I am actually in tights. I'm gonna go work out in a little bit. But it's nice to be able to dress up and meet you all and do these presentations. So I have my like set of blouses and presentation attire that I like to present in. Why not? And well, I just got an undercut, which means part of my hair is shaved just on one side. I enjoy going to the barber more than the hair salon. It's just, hey, might seem weird to some of you, but I enjoy it. And the it's a little bit. I have a lot of hair, so it's very cooling. I enjoy it, and it helps. And it may actually help my neck mobility because I don't have as much hair on my head anymore. And now the question I have for you, Pear, is where do you want to travel to and why next? If you could travel anywhere, and we are going to be traveling somewhere, but not where we're traveling. Like if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be?
If I could travel anywhere in the world, so
Yes.
I'm looking at the map behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've said this before, Slovenia and the Balkans seem like they'd be a fun place to go at some point. They may not let us in at the moment, but
yeah, at some point. Good. And you've talked about that before, so we will just have to go. But our trip that we're planning soon with our family is we're leaving actually tomorrow morning. Is we're going on an RV trip to, it was Yosemite. However, unfortunately, India, yes, Arturo, it's a good one. We've been there. We went there a couple of years ago as a family. But we're going to Colorado. We're going to take a nice trip through the Grand Canyon, Zion, and go to Colorado for a couple of weeks. And we're all going to live in one room for 2 weeks. And it's going to be quite the adventure. So, and we've had to pivot that vacation a number of times. So without further ado, let's get into the number one body part, the body part that is the number one predictor for musculoskeletal claims. And some of you are on here to probably learn that, but hopefully most of you are on here too to just learn about this body part and what you can do about it for yourself first, and then for others that you lead on a daily basis. So what you're going to learn today is how to screen the major movements of the neck. There's 3 of them, and then we're also going to look at your posture and how to test that. We are going to give you tools on how to work on your posture of the neck. Okay, and then we're going to talk about how the neck impacts the rest of the body, because we are holistic health professionals at Movement RX. We don't just look at the one joint. We want to look at the whole body and how it impacts the whole body, to include the mind. And then why is the neck the number one predictor of musculoskeletal health claims? We'll go into that and kind of the chain reaction of events that can happen when your neck isn't actually in good alignment. So let's go ahead. I want you all to participate in this. I want to screen the neck. So these are some tests that I learned from Gray Cook, who's an amazing human performance physical therapist. And it's actually one of the tests is what we use on our own assessment on our platform. So, and these are tests that you either have it or you don't. There's no like in between, okay? And you don't need a measuring tape or anything like that. So we look at flexion, bending forward, rotation, and then we also look at extension, looking up towards the sky. So what I want you to do right now is go ahead and stand up and roll your shoulder blades back, and then go ahead and bring your chin to your chest. And with your fingers, just measure how many fingers away is your chin from your sternum, right? Is it 1 finger? Is it 2 fingers? And make sure not to open your jaw, right? Or shift your shoulders up, right? No extra compensation. So go ahead and do that. Where are you? Okay, I'm about 1/2 finger from my sternum right now. And then what I want you to do is look up towards the sky. So tuck your chin, look up towards the sky. And the goal is with that is that your face can actually is parallel to the sky, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and do that myself. I feel like I'm just about there. And just check in. Is there any pain with that? Does it feel uncomfortable in the front of your neck, in the back of your neck, right? Take note. So whether you have pain or you just can't achieve the movement, right? That's a dysfunction. If you can achieve the movement, no pain, feels good, great, move on. So again, this isn't just about chasing pain. This is about chasing function. And then the next test is rotation. Okay, and this is probably the most important one. So what we want to do is go ahead and rotate our neck to the right and bring our chin to the clavicle, again, without lifting up our shoulder or opening our jaw. So what is that like to the right? What is that like to the left? And go ahead and just take note of that yourself. Does it feel different going to the right? Does it feel different going to the left? Okay, so for me, it feels a little bit tighter going to the left. And you can also use your fingers too to test that, like how far your chin is from your clavicle. Okay, so just take a note. You can either write on a piece of paper what your results were. Now let's test posture. Okay, so let's go ahead and get against a wall. And what I want you to do is put your heels against the wall, squeeze your butt. Okay, put your butt against the wall too. Roll your shoulder blades back so your back is against the wall. And then your head might not be touching the wall, or it might be, but put your hand behind your head. And how many fingers is your head from the wall right now? Right, without fixing that, your head position yet. So mine's 3 fingers. That's about 1.5 inches. Okay, so for every inch forward, that's 10 to 11 pounds of pressure, extra pressure going into my spine. So my spine's having to work really hard right now. I'm kind of leaning forward. So the posture check is my heels are against the wall, butt's against the wall, shoulders, and then I tuck my chin and the back of my head touches the wall. Now what I'm gonna do here, so I have 4 points of contact: head, shoulders, knees, not knees, hips and toes, heels. So those 4 points of contact, when I step away, I'm going to work to maintain this, okay? And so that's really important to take note of. And you can check yourself during the day, right? How many fingers width are you away from the wall? If you start to feel a neck ache or upper back ache, you know, like, hey, check the neck, right? The neck, you want the neck to be in alignment with the shoulders, in alignment with the hips, in alignment with the heels, okay? So you are actually constantly pulling yourself back versus rounding forward, which can happen during the day. That is why frequent movement is so important. And so when you come to think of like your monitor height, and here's a little trick for the monitor height. You know, my monitor is actually a little low right now for me, so I'm slightly looking down, so not ideal. This isn't typically where I work from. But what I want you to think about for the monitor height for your eyes' sake is go ahead and I'm gonna teach you how to salute. So put your head up, your hands, it's not a flat salute, okay? We don't have a flat hand. When we salute, we slightly tilt our pinky down about 20 degrees. And if I were to go ahead and salute and straighten my arm, it's going to hit the middle of my monitor. And right now it hits more towards the top. So that's not ideal for me. But if I were to salute with a slight incline of my hand and go ahead and straighten my arm, my fingers hit the middle of the screen. Just a little easy tidbit for you. So here's the thing, right? When our neck isn't in alignment, there's a lot of pressure that's going into the back of our body. And what can happen over time is when our head's forward, now you can see my nice undercut a little bit more, you get, so that pressure goes into the muscles in the upper back and in the lower back. And the back of the neck, right, starts to become tight. So the scalenes, the levator, scapula, the upper trapezius, you know, I think Arturo was asking about that. And then what happens is the neck flexors, the deep neck flexors get weak. So all of this gets tight and this gets weak, right? This becomes weak. It's called the upper cross syndrome. This becomes weak back here, and then this becomes tight. So that's why we constantly want to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. Okay, so like constantly check yourself against the wall. Where is my neck position? Because one, if your head's falling forward, everything is going to be thrown out of whack, and muscles will become tight that shouldn't be tight. Muscles will become weak that shouldn't be weak, right? Our scapula, we want our scapular muscles to be, the muscles in the back of our shoulder to be strong. And you can start to strengthen them by just improving your posture, which is pretty cool. So that's the thing. So back here, you know, maybe some of you can put in the chat, like you feel this? Do you feel tightness back here? Do you feel tightness in the front of the shoulder? Do you feel weakness here in the neck? Do you feel weakness in the back of the shoulder? Maybe you can put in the chat, like, yes, I do, or no, or maybe people in your company are complaining or having issues with this. Let us know if this is resonating, please. The other thing that, isn't so common is that the thoracic spine, so that mid-back area. So from the neck to the top of the lower back is your thoracic spine. Okay, there are 12 vertebrae there. And that's where your ribs are attached to. So yeah, you have a rib all the way up here, all the way down to the upper part of your back, so lower back. So that when you are in this position all day typing, right, that area can get super stiff. And that's usually what people complain of. It's not necessarily pain there, it's just stiffness. So that joint, to keep it and help it keep it healthy, you always are drawing yourself back. You're drawing your shoulder blades back, you're tucking your chin, so it puts less pressure into that thoracic spine area. So this area, right, needs mobility, and it needs to be strong here, and it needs to be not tight here, right? So improving your posture there. And the downrange effect of that is that your shoulders won't become tight here. Your scapula muscles will stay strong. Your mid back won't feel so tight when you foam roll it or just, work on a daily basis. And your low back won't be screaming at you or feeling achy at the end of the day. Does that sound good to everyone? Good. So Karen said posture is good, head easily touches the wall, but flexion rotation. Okay. Yeah, so there's different tests. Those different tests that I taught you at the beginning, those are easy screens for yourself. And whether you have pain or not, right, we're chasing function. So those are things that you're going to want to improve. Okay, so thanks for your interaction here. Let's move on. So I taught you the monitor salute. So I was in the Marine Corps. I like to teach people how to salute effectively. That's helpful. And it's kind of fun to do when you're working from home and nobody's watching you. And even if you're at the office, why not? People will be jealous. Okay, so now let's get into some tools that will help you. Okay, so I'm going to show you 3 different techniques that are easy to do on a daily basis that will help you be more aware of where your head is in space, and it'll give you an easier way to get that posture back. So some of you probably felt like, wow, it's really hard to keep my head back. Like, I'm gonna have to work on that. Well, one, you can just practice, right, good posture and check yourself. But then you can also do these 3 techniques frequently throughout the day. We recommend every 25, 30 minutes, take a movement break, right? That's really, really important. So tissues don't start to become inhibited, meaning weak. So the front of the neck, the back of the shoulders, the butt, all those things. We don't want those to become inhibited. No way. So the first one is a levator stretch. So what I want you to do is take your hand, if you're sitting in a chair, is grab the edge of the chair, okay, and side bend your head, okay, and then slightly look down towards your clavicle, almost like you were doing that test, and grab the back of your head and gently pull. Okay, so as you're holding on to the chair, you're getting some nice traction in that levator. So that levator muscle attaches to the top of the shoulder, and then it goes all the way up the neck to the base of the occiput. So what we're going to do is just hold on to the chair, grab our head and pull down. It's kind of like smelling your armpit. Think about that, right? It's probably maybe a little sweaty. It's okay. It's not a big deal. It's an easy way to just, pretend like you're stretching, but then making sure you're also wearing deodorant. So hold there and then come back up, go back down, hold there for 10 seconds. I like to do these drills for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes, right? So this could be part of your movement break. If I couldn't get rotation right, then this is a great technique that I can do to work on it, okay? So let's go ahead and do a few more, gently pulling down with the back of our head. If that's painful for some of you, don't even worry about pulling with your hand. Just rotate, bring your chin to your clavicle, and hold onto the side of the chair. All right, so let's go ahead and do the other side. And let's think about this time, let's add a little bit to it. So let's rotate to the left, bring our chin to our clavicle, hold on to the side of the chair and with the right arm, and then gently push up against the hand with your head. So I'm trying to pull my head back up. a gentle contraction, and then relax and pull your head down. This is a PNF, proprioceptive neuro facilitation stretch. And what it's doing is it's activating the muscle spindles in the levator. And then when you relax, it's allowing them to relax even more deeply than just a static stretch, okay? So this is great for, game time all day work, right? So, and then or before you work out. Let's go ahead and do it again. So rotate to the right, bring your chin down, pull your head down, hold on to the side of the chair, and gently push up into your fingers, and then relax. We hold for about 5-6 seconds, and then relax and pull our head a little bit further. So let's do a couple more. Pull up against your head, or against your hand gently. Hold, and then relax. Pull your head down towards your clavicle. If you feel yourself starting to tighten up or need to breathe more heavily, stop or relax a little bit. So let's do one more. Breathe in. Push against your hand gently. Relax. Breathe out. Pull your chin down to your clavicle. All right, so those are easy techniques that you can do. It's an easy technique. And already I feel the back of my shoulders, this muscle in particular, the levator, feel better. And now bringing my chin back is even easier. The next one is raise the roofs with a chin tuck. Okay, so I can go against the wall. And I really like these, and I use these almost with anyone with any kind of shoulder or neck dysfunction in time, because they aren't the most, I think they're fun, but a lot of people don't think they're fun, but it is a really good way to get those shoulder blades and the muscles around the shoulder blades really active, because those are the ones you don't want to be weak, right? Those are the ones that are going to help keep your head up. So go ahead and get against the wall, put your arms up like you're under arrest, tuck your chin, put your head back against the wall, and then let's just go ahead and do 5 of them. So let's go ahead and breathe in the belly first and then the chest. Breathe out, drive your arms over your head like they're in a Y position. Breathe in, bring your arms down, breathe out, take your arms over your head. Go ahead and do this with me. Reach. Work to keep those elbows against the wall, okay? Breathe in, breathe out, reach. Relax your face muscles. Breathe in, breathe out. As you reach over your head, trying to keep those elbows against the wall. The more mobile you feel, the tighter the Y angle can be at the top. Breathe in. And then a little bit more narrow Y can also be helpful for those that feel a little bit more mobile. Let's do one more together. Breathe in. Breathe out. Reach. And there we go. That's just 5 reps. Ideally, we'd like you to get 20 reps in a day. It's a great quick movement break. Who felt good doing that one? While it's not fun doing it, I actually feel a lot better after doing it too. Okay, now, and you can put that in the comments if you like, let's do, the last thing we're gonna do is some rainbows, okay? So the first levator stretch is for the neck specifically, the neck tightness that we get. The next one was raise the roofs, were to activate the muscles of the back of the shoulder and also the deep neck flexors, okay? So we're kind of reversing this problem that we're creating. And then the next one is we're gonna do rainbows against the wall. And why I call them rainbows, well, it's just this arcing motion. And the thoracic stiffness, right? That's, we're trying to combat thoracic stiffness. So you're gonna get against the wall like so. You're gonna take your arms out in front of you, and you're gonna go ahead and arc around. Notice I'm rotating, kind of hugging the wall here. I'm rotating around, back and forth, okay, for 5 reps. This is opening up my mid back, okay? So all the while I want you to squeeze your butt to protect your lower back and just rotate back and forth for 5 reps. And go ahead and do that on each side. So stand against the wall, right? My hips are perpendicular to the wall. I'm gonna do it on this side, okay? Hands out in front, and I'm just gonna go ahead and open myself up. My palm is facing the wall, okay? And making sure I'm squeezing the butt to protect my lower back. This is a real fun one that I like to do with my kids. Okay, so go ahead and do one more. And that is a thoracic opener, and it feels really good. And you're going to notice one side feels different than the other, right? So maybe spend a little bit of extra time on the side with the neck, thoracic spine. That last drill, spend a little bit of extra time on the side that feels more stiff. Okay, so now let's finish up here with why is the neck the number 1 predictor for musculoskeletal health claims? So here's the spoken problem, and the pair can chime in here on this at some point. But the spoken problem is that low back pain and mental health, such as anxiety and depression, are kind of the biggest causes of disability in our country, in our world, actually, according to the World Health Organization. The unspoken problem, though, is that the neck, for example, the position of the neck causes this kind of trail of tears, chain reaction of problems. If your neck is forward, it's going to start to create stiffness in the upper back. It's going to start to create, in the mid back, it's going to start to create weakness in the shoulders, tightness in the front of the shoulders. It's going to, so we can name all of the physical dysfunctions that a forward head can cause over time. And you might not actually feel the pain in the neck. You might actually feel discomfort in the lower back because the head's forward, and 10, 11 pounds of pressure. If your head is forward 3 inches, that's like 45 pounds of pressure going into your lower back, right? And into the paraspinals in the mid back. That's a lot of weight. If our head's down like this, it's 60 pounds of pressure going into our spine. So you can see, like, your neck might not be a problem, but other areas of the body are screaming at you. And the data shows that, so like the neck's forward, right? It might cause pain in those areas, like the lower back, but the pain isn't where the problem is. So that's why if we can fix the neck, we can fix a lot of these other downrange problems. And we see in the data that it shows poor movers are 3 times more likely to file a claim than good movers. So to make this worse, the same data set shows the average size of claims for poor movers is 2.5 times that of good movers. So, and then the significant difference is hard dollar costs. The other thing is that posture-related movement dysfunction can lead to less activity, right? And this is kind of the unspoken. So we're going over kind of unspoken problems here. But the unknown problem is that this inactivity causes a decrease in morale and happiness, and can cause relationship issues at home, relationship issues at work. Nobody wants to feel inactive. Nobody wants to gain weight and feel like they have poor health, right? Nobody wants to feel like pain is my life. And these are kind of the issues, the unknown problems that we come across with groups of people, individuals, and then also those who are leading people. It's like, while we care about these costs, like for the company, and we care about people's health more, the thing is that the downrange effects of these poor positions we put ourselves in, and the ways of thinking that kind of like keep us there. So, oh, pain is just part of my life. It's normal for me. This is my life now. That's not the case. It doesn't have to be the case. And there's things that we can do about it. So, and Per, why don't you go into just the productivity data?
Yeah, so we see a variety of studies, and one of them, which is the one that Theresa alluded to there, which is a binary test of good moving versus poor moving. Kind of correlates to in a couple of categories. What you said, basically, there's a significant increase in the likelihood of having an actual claim, and those claims are significantly higher for those who move poorly than those who move well. And so, and that's just claims. So, but if you think about the part of the population that never gets to a claim, where it's just a chronic issue that they handle on their own, there's not a specific event-based thing to tie it back to a workplace claim. There's significant decrease in overall function, and the data that we have, we've studied musculoskeletal function, pain, subjective pain levels, and emotional energy levels for years now, and we see there's correlation it's a pretty direct correlation between those things. And so knowing what we know and seeing both from a clinical standpoint, as well as thousands and thousands of folks going through our online assessments and the work that we do at companies, we recognize that over time, improve function, you improve overall just affect, right? Overall level of energy. And it's measured specifically as, are you at risk of being in an emotional energy crisis or not? It's specifically measuring your subjective self-scoring of where you are on a pain scale. And so those things move in lockstep together over time. And so if you look at productivity data, and there's a lot of that's out there, you look at emotional health and musculoskeletal health issues, that's roughly across the United States, about $1,700 in lost productivity costs per employee per year. So you've got 1,000 employees times 1,700, 1.7 million. Maybe my zeros are off. Yeah, we'll have to check my math, but the impact is significant. And so we know from our data that you reduce musculoskeletal dysfunction, you can reduce some of that, the emotional health challenges and the stress that impacts productivity. There are lots of other numbers that can tie those things together, but I think this is a pretty direct path. And this, of course, does nothing to talk about morale, which
it's the unspoken problem.
Yeah, that's a bit of an ephemeral thing, but we certainly can see, and you can logically think through the impact of emotional health on overall morale in an organization or a group of any type. And so there's and what we can share this research. I think we have a blog post coming out that will share this research with you too.
So, and kind of going off of that, so that we're at 11:30. So if you have to jump off, that's okay. But we want the point is that there's spoken problems, unspoken problems, and we want to make sure that we're addressing all of them. And it really does matter. So while we're talking about the neck, right, impacting everything else, the neck up stuff, the mental health stuff also matters. The way someone, when we have a forward head, just look at breathing, right? Karen, you come to one of my breathing classes too. It's like, and we're actually going to have a breathing class expert on in a couple of weeks. She works with the New York firefighters and is a good friend of mine and a psychologist. But it impacts the way you breathe too. And, if you can't get enough oxygen in, if you can't get more oxygen in your body, that's decrease in energy that your body is giving out. So there's a lot of downrange effects that I obviously know as a clinician that people don't know who are in your companies or around you, or you yourself don't know. And if you just, start to pick apart and pick up these little movement skills during your day, it really impacts your life that day, but also in the future. And so make sure after today, you keep testing your neck in flexion, extension, rotation, get against the wall, right? 25, 30-minute breaks. Use those tools I gave you, those 3 tools. You now understand that the neck is just while there may not be pain there, for somebody there might be, there's dysfunction there that's going to impact downrange, the rest of your body. And then now you can understand a little bit why the neck is the #1 predictor for musculoskeletal health claims, even though the spoken problem is usually low back mental health issues. If we can fix and work on neck up stuff and the neck itself, it directly impacts the rest of the body. And then of course it impacts the company culture and other unspoken problems. So without further ado, let's answer some questions because there's some good ones on here. I see Theresa asks, is it normal that my fingers tingle when I raise the roof? I know it's not normal. And so most likely what I would do, Theresa, is continue doing that exercise and give yourself a little pec stretch too during the day. So it's getting against the wall, doing a pec stretch, opening up the front of the shoulders. Because if your shoulders are tight in the front, it can affect the energy of the nerves that are going underneath the clavicle, the first rib, and that pec minor that's in the front of the body. Does that make sense? So keep doing it, but don't do it to the point where your fingers are tingling for minutes and minutes. do it until your fingers start to tingle, stop, do it again a little bit later, and you'll start to grow mobility in that shoulder complex area. And then we've got when you push the neck to the hand on the top, you breathe in or out or hold. Yeah, Arturo, so you want to keep breathing. You just, I would, with these stretches, you can push in, you can breathe in, right, as you're pushing in. That's a good way of rule of thumb. Breathe in and then breathe out and relax and pull your head a little bit further. So breathe out, breathe in with contraction, breathe out with the stretch. Any other questions?
So this is based on some of my personal issues, but maybe it's relevant, is that when you think about the neck position and then making your rhomboids weak and the other impacts of that, you know, for me, it's felt like shoulder impingement comes from that, or tight biceps, sometimes a nervy feeling in my hand too. Can you talk about just issues with rhomboids and how this might impact that?
Oh, the rhomboids. Well, the rhomboids are also a scapula stabilizer. So those are muscles that sit behind the wing bones. If you think about, these are the wing bones and you bring your arms up and down, this is what they're doing. So the rhomboids, if this is my spine in the middle, they sit in this area. Okay, so if those are weak because of forward head posture and this dumping forward of our body, I'm over exaggerating here, and they become weak, they start to feel like they have knots in it actually. There's less blood flow there. They start to have to work really hard to pull your head back, right? So that's why they develop these knots. So the key would be, and then everything in the front gets tight and starts to close off energy from the nerves called the brachial plexus that go into our extremities, which is our arms for the brachial plexus. So the key is to align your spine. That's the first thing, right? Align your spine, open up the shoulders, and start to strengthen the back of the shoulders. So you can do the raise the roofs, you can do banded pull aparts. We've got a bunch of opportunities on our platform to work on the back of the shoulders, particularly on the shoulder program. But it's then, you know, getting a stretch on the front of the shoulders too, to open up where those nerve roots cross and go under, especially specifically the pec muscle, the pectoral, which is the chest.
Yeah. Thanks, T.
Anyway, any other questions? We're running out of time here. I don't want to keep you guys too long, and ladies.
So yeah, if there are any questions, please add those, and if anybody's writing those down, I'll close out here. I'll add a couple links here for folks. One is if you're individual and looking for some help, go to that first link, Digital Rehab, and that gives some insight into the type of consumer-facing programs that exist. If you represent employees or an organization and want to learn, you know, whether it's platform access for a company or if it's lunch and learns or those types of things, there's a variety of options. That link there is just it's the hope link there is for 10-15-minute conversation, just to catch up or to understand more clearly what some of the challenges are and where you're looking to go. And we can pretty quickly set up a game plan to address those issues. So that said, thank you, Theresa, for your help and expertise, and thank you everybody for participating. Definitely use some of these drills. We will get the recording out by tomorrow. There will be a blog with all this and some videos of these drills that will come out early next week. And so we'll make sure that you guys all have access to that and get reminded when those things come live. So
thank you, Pear, too. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Karen, James, Arturo, Rainier, Theresa, for coming on. And we look forward to 2 weeks from now, because I'm bringing Dr. Belisa Vranich, who wrote Breathing for Warriors and has worked with the New York Fire Department on improving their performance in breathing. So I want to do a deeper dive into breathing as well. So stay tuned for that web class coming up in 2 weeks.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.